What's up everyone, MK Tom Brady here, and in this video I am going to attempt to talk about what I saw yesterday in the Mortal Kombat 1 Pro Competition finale. So, spoiler, it was a complete disaster. The chat was just, because the whole time they're like, hey, join us, chat with us. The chat for the most part was absolutely just crapping on the game the whole time, especially these hype moments in winners finals, losers finals, grand finals. The chat was not very entertained. Now, in case you missed the Final Kombat finale, I've prepared a little montage here for you. Now, as you're watching this, you may say, well, Tom, it looks like pretty much every player is here. And even though it's just about every single set, with every player, I only see 2 characters and 2 cameos. And it looks like every set outside of one was pretty much the exact same for just about every single game. So, Tom, are you telling me that 95% of every game of every set was Johnny, Peacemaker, Chameleon, and Kano? That's exactly what I'm telling you. And the problem is, that's exactly what it was. That's not even an exaggeration. So, let me explain why the viewing experience is so important. You see, if a game looks to be extremely fun to play, most people are going to correlate that to it probably looks really fun to play because it is really fun and enjoyable to play. What happens is your viewing audience is always in a good place. It rises and rises and levels off in a very good place and really explodes during big events. And because people are enjoying what they are watching, a lot of people decide, well, if it looks this fun to play, I actually want to play it. Your player base goes up, stays in a great place, so does your viewer base. So the game is in a great place, and it rises and rises, and you have a very long and healthy lifespan for the game, the community, the competitive scene, the casual scene, etc. That is not where Mortal Kombat 1 is. Mortal Kombat 1 is on the opposite end of that, where, well, if a game looks really, really, really not fun to play and boring, most people are going to correlate that to, well, it probably doesn't look very fun to play because it probably isn't very fun to play. What's going to happen is your viewing audience is going to go down, your player base is going to drastically decrease, and that is where MK1 is. As of right now, I'm recording this video. It's Monday. You'll see this video tomorrow on Tuesday. It is Monday, June 17th, 8:03 p.m. prime time. These are the numbers. So look, Tekken 8, it's no longer in its honeymoon phase. Because for a long time, everybody was like, it's in the honeymoon phase. Not fair. Well, not only has Tekken 8 left the honeymoon phase, it completely exploded on itself. And the community was not very happy. It went through a very negative period. And it's leveled off and everything with several patches. Everyone's feeling very positive about the game, the direction it's going. And Street Fighter and Tekken 8 have pretty much leveled off. And outside of like a major event, these are like the averages you're going to see. And, this is a good, healthy place on like an average night, prime time. Then there's MK1, day after the Pro Series. No buzz, no hype, nobody cares. So, let me try to explain a couple of things here. Day after the Pro Series, the powers that be, your top content creators, I guess I don't want to call them the shells, but they get referred to as that quite frequently. So, well, I don't care. You can call them shells, whatever. These are the people that are your main content creators. I call them the powers that be because they're the ones that try to tell you the way you should be feeling and why, when you don't feel very good about the game, you're wrong and you just don't know what you're seeing. So there's not a buzz of hype after the Pro Series finale. Nope. There is damage control. All of your powers that be top content creators are in damage control mode. They're basically telling you your brain can't handle what you saw. Like, you think you saw this, but the truth is your brain just can't handle the massive amounts of hype and excitement. You don't understand what you're seeing. Because if you did, you would realize this is the most hype thing ever conceived. Like, I can't even believe I was witness to this. This is what they're telling you. Again, whenever your top content creators have to go into damage control mode the day after your pro finale, it's not a good sign. And that's where we are right now. So there's a few things I want to get into here as well. First, I want you to remember where the game started. Its first ever tournament, Mortal Kombat 1 offline tournament, was a Pro Series qualifier. And the top 8, outside of Sonic playing Rain, just about every other character was like Johnny Cage and Raiden. Everybody was talking about all this Johnny, all this Raiden. I think there was one Baraka, but it was like 85% Johnny Cage and Raiden. And the cameos were all Kung Lao, Cyrex, Kung Lao, Cyrex. And people were like, wow, you're just seeing Cyrex, Kung Lao, and for the most part, Johnny and Raiden. And of course, people felt the way they felt about Baraka, Cyrex, etc. So NRS said, you know what? We don't want to see just 2 characters and 2 cameos in top 8. So the day after that first tournament, they nerfed some cameos around to try to fix the problem. And 1 year later, we're back to seeing even less characters. Now it actually is 2 characters in top 8. It's actually exactly the same thing. We saw a random Baraka appearance, random Shao Kahn appearance, random Katana once. But we saw, for the most part, just 2 characters and 2 cameos. The same thing we saw in the first. This top 8 is very similar to the very first top 8 ever held for the Mortal Kombat 1 pro scene. And they had a whole year to try to correct this. And how did we end up exactly where we started? After an entire year of trying to correct it. Even more. Remember that patch that happened a couple of months ago? I believe your top content creators called it, what was it? A major win. Huge W for the community. What were they saying? Man, tournaments had boiled down to just Chameleon everywhere, and then Johnny, Raiden, and Peacemaker. And you're right, the game did fix that. We don't see Johnny, Raiden, and Peacemaker anymore as the only characters. We just see Johnny and Peacemaker. So I guess they did fix that. But again, for the most part, people were saying it was a huge win. This is the best place the game has ever been in. The best, quote unquote. Now, a lot of these guys will probably try to bury those videos, now if they could. Guys, you remember this, right? You all know who they were. Major win. Best place the game has ever been in. This, what we're watching right now. The best place the game has ever been in. And if many of you believe that that is true, if this is the best place the game has ever been in, how bad were things throughout the course of the year if this is the best place the game has ever been in? And we all know who said it. All of them. All these top content creators. The truth is, they're all full of shit. They say these things because you guys are nothing more than a dollar sign to them. And they just want to keep it coming in. And that's another problem, which we'll get to here in a second. But the real reason why this happened was here's how Mortal Kombat 1 is. For one, it's largely built off the MK1 kind of meta, which is, poke, down one, backdash, micro duck, and then you have your assist in there. It's built off that system, largely. Huge issues. But when you come to the characters themselves, outside of 2, I guess I'll throw Ermac in there, 3 characters, a large, 98% of the cast, the cameo does most, and then as you go down to the tier list, to all of the heavy lifting. And then you have some characters where That's not the case, like Johnny Cage and Peacemaker. These characters are very complete in that they do their own heavy lifting. They do the majority of their own heavy lifting, and the cameo is the plus one to enhance them. Whereas most of the game, those characters can do some to none of their own heavy lifting, and they are largely dependent on the cameo, and the character is for the most part a bystander. The level of how much of a bystander your character is varies from the characters that are okay all the way down to the characters that are completely crap, and then you don't even use your character anymore. You just use the cameo, which is Chameleon. And when you're playing for money, why are you going to play a character that can't do any of its heavy lifting? And the cameo does all of it. When you can play a character who does its own heavy lifting, and then the cameo enhances it. Clearly, that's the best option. And there are only 2 or 3 characters in this whole game that do that. Now, there are some that are going to say, they're still going to cling to, oh, the game is in a great place. You just got to nerf Peacemaker, nerf Chameleon, nerf Johnny. What are you going to nerf on Johnny? Take his jab plus frames, make it like -1. Take his knee and make it super slow, 13 frames. Take Peacemaker, nerf him into the floor, nerf Chameleon into the floor. Then you will have a game worse than MK11. How can that be possible? The correct answer is to do none of that. No, the correct answer is actually to say, okay, let us take the game as it is. Look, Peacemaker and Johnny, they're actually not in a bad place. They're actually pretty much fine. The problem is the other characters need to be able to do all, that's right, all of their own heavy lifting, which requires some major change. Take them all, buff them all up, change them if you need to, in a way where they all are their own individual character that can exist without the cameo, and the cameo is the +1. Now, obviously, there's still going to be a tier list. There's still going to be characters that do this better. However, this happened in this tournament because people felt compelled that they had no other option at all to win. Like, this is my only option. If I want to win, I got to pick Johnny or Peacemaker, or it's not going to happen. So this will allow a lot more character diversity. More characters can play. More characters can play the game. Right now, the cameo plays the game for most of them. So, of course, for money, you're going to pick the 2 characters where that isn't the case. And I said you can throw Ermac in there as well. But that's really where the game is right now. Now, how did this happen? Right? How did this happen? Well, for one, we're in a really, I guess, so NetherRealm, the studio that makes the game, right? NetherRealm has this thing where, remember a couple of months ago where we had that tweet where it's like, hey, I hope NRS is listening. Because everyone who's criticizing the game right now, hope they cut you off for life. Well, that's basically the system we do have. So you have a lot of the top content creators. They become shills because NRS basically says, if you criticize our game, you're done. Now, this is their livelihood. So, of course, they're going to just shill the game. What NRS has created is a very toxic positive. So what we have is toxic positivity. NRS says, we're not going to listen to anybody but the people that we deem to listen to, these major content creators. But we're going to tell them, don't you dare criticize us or you're done. So what happens is we know they don't listen to the average audience, because how many times does somebody tweet and you can't respond? Videos go up, comments turned off, right? They don't want to hear what everybody thinks. What they want to hear is what their yes men thinks. They surround themselves by yes men and say, you better say yes men under fear of being blacklisted for life. And then they say to these yes men, hey, how's the game? Is it a good place? Yes, great place. Amazing, huge win, guys. Great patch, neato. So NRS says, yeah, nothing to see here, you know? And they're like, yeah, just the negativity. You know how they're all haters. Every single one that's criticizing your game right now, haters, grifters, trying to make money. Yeah, these people with 5 and 10K You know, me, I have a small following. I don't care. I do this because I love Mortal Kombat, not for money. These people with very small following who don't really make any money and don't do it for money, they're grifters trying to make money. Us with 100 and 500K followers, subscribers, oh, no, we're not doing it for money. Those guys with 5K ones, they're doing it for money. Are you stupid? Think about this. Are you stupid? How does that make sense? Clearly, the ones with 100, 200, 500K are doing whatever for money, not the dude with 1.2K followers, not the dude with 10K, 20K followers. They're not making the big bucks on YouTube, and they're not doing it for the big bucks on YouTube. But you have people that are saying, no, not us. These people, they're being negative because they're grifting to try to, you know, cash in on the negativity. No, not true at all. So we have what's called toxic positivity. And NRS only listens to these yes men. No, nothing needs to change. Nope. Great place. Nothing to see here. So they say, oh, everything's fine. And these same content creators tell you the people that are criticizing the game are negative. So, and they are the problem. So the real issue here is, one, NRS has created a system in which they don't ever want to hear any critique of the game. And because of this, they have created their own yes man environment where yes, great, amazing, yes. So, yep, nothing ever changes. The next thing is to be a shill for the game. There's nothing really negative attached to this. And people will say, oh, they're called shills, Tom. But there's no negativity attached to that, meaning they don't get blacklisted by NRS because they're shilling the game. And two, the community, for the most part, will not attach any kind of negative, to this. Like, they're shills, but they're still seen as positive people. When you criticize the game, you are seen as, everything negative. A whiner, a crybaby, a complainer. Someone no one should listen to because they're just cry and whine. And all you're doing is critiquing the game. Look at this garbage on the screen right now. Who is going to watch this and say, oh my God, my mind exploded from excitement? Like, no. And you're not being negative to tell the truth of what we all saw. So, but these people have created a thing where the people that are telling you what they're seeing and the way things are and what has to change, they are the negative ones. And the ones who are just being positive and shilling, they are just, hey, I'm not crying, I'm being positive. So they always escape unscathed. And it's everyone else that criticizes the game that is painted in a negative light. The real truth is, the positive content creators, they're the problem. They're the problem. Because they're basically all full of crap to make a buck. Now, everyone who tries to tell you, hey, this is wrong, something's not right here, they say they're the grifters trying to make money. But the real truth is, everyone's saying, big win, major win, great patch, best place the game has ever been, best MK of all time, most balanced MK of all time. We know that's all full of shit, right? They're grifting for a more positive spot in the community, in NRS's good graces. It's all wrong. And I know some of them are good friends of mine. They're not doing it to be in NRS's good graces, but they don't want to be in that crybaby, complainer, whiner, negative. They don't want to be labeled as that. So they're just going to shove the positivity down your throat to avoid that situation. It's such a corrupt and toxic environment in Mortal Kombat right now. And everything needs to change. NRS needs to be more accountable. The game is out for a year pretty much. This is what it looks like. And stuff in the menu is still saying coming soon. I don't want to tell you how you should think and feel, but I do feel like things need to change, and I would love to hear your opinions in the comments. Man, things are in a really, really bad place, and everything needs to change. From the very top of the top, from NRS to the shill content creators to the toxic positive ones. Look, it's not really a situation where people are grifting and trying to cash in on the negativity. Far from it. People are trying to cash in, but it's not the ones criticizing the game. Everything needs to change. I mean, everything needs to change if MK is ever truly going to be saved. I love Mortal Kombat. I traveled for this game when most of you watching weren't even born. I did it for nothing, for free, not for money, not for anything other than I loved the game and I wanted to compete amongst the best because I loved the game. The love of the game is gone. It's gone. It's gone. The players don't feel it. People only play it for money. The audience doesn't feel the love. And it's a very toxic environment to be in. Tekken, look at what a great place it's in now. Community is like, wow, this is great. Namco is responding. They're doing changes. They're trying to make the game better. It's a complete 180 from where things were a couple of months ago when it was like the world is exploding. Look at Street Fighter. People are like, man, Akuma looks sick. And then there's Mortal Kombat. Now, of course, people are going to focus in on this and disregard everything in my argument and just say, oh, MK does well on YouTube, though. Does Tekken not do well on YouTube? Does Main Man not have a good following? Does he not have a bunch of views? Is it only MK? They all do equally well on YouTube. And people are going to try to take that argument and nitpick it and avoid everything and disregard everything I said. But I hope you guys listening really understand. Look, I don't upload very much anymore. My days are numbered. I'm at the end, I don't compete anymore. And I'm at the end of my gaming run, period. Other things in life honor bigger and better things and different things. But for you guys who are going to stick around, who love Mortal Kombat, who want to see it do well, who want to compete, I want you guys to get your game back again. And it really breaks my heart that you don't have it right now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for more content. Would love to hear your comments in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.